Hey listeners, my name is Elisha, the founder of the Witnesses podcast. It's so beautiful to have you listening to our podcast, and I want you to know something that means a whole lot to me. Thank you for tuning in. And one thing I love to tell all of our listeners is it's not just about you listening, but listening to understand. Understanding is the most important thing, so important. So you have to listen, learn, and practice. Thank you so very much and happy listening.
Hi Nate, it's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing great and getting better.
That's so good. Okay, oftentimes, Nate, I love to talk about the essence of this show, which is to invite amazing guests like Nate to come talk to us about their triumphant stories. Why is that? The reason is we believe that in our audience, there might be someone who is stuck up in a situation that Nate came out of triumphantly. So by that person listening to you speak, he or she might actually pick an information that will lead to their transformation. So that's basically the essence of the show. Alright, so within the next few minutes, Nate, let us get started with your story, the challenges that you faced, and how you overcame them. Then afterwards, I've got some beautiful questions for you. Okay, over to you, Nate.
All right. Well, my name's Nate Zeleznick. I'm from a small town called Huntsville here in Utah. And just to give everybody out there a quick glimpse of my mission, vision, my purpose. So, my mission is to help elevate consciousness using a very special form of breath work, meditation, and energy work that was developed by a royal family in Indonesia over 500 years ago. And I am the first and still one of only two people in America allowed to train and steward this method here in the the Western Hemisphere. And so my vision is to have at least 10 million people doing this on a regular basis because, first of all, it helps to extend our life. It improves our stamina, our energy, our positivity, the internal energy that we have in our body. So anybody out there that's ever seen the people from my company or maybe myself personally who is able to use our energy to do some amazing things like break steel bars or iron or stone, barely touching them, or doing things where we can literally teach people to see without their eyes, which is why I actually brought this to this country. And we'll get into that in a little bit. If you've ever seen things like this, that's really my stock in trade, is helping people become the superhuman that they possibly can be, but society has never let us know that we can, or our parents, or our friends, or even ourselves. And so that's why I've brought the Integrated Ascension Method forward, because this very special art, the purpose of it is to help people understand our interconnectedness and our oneness in the Creator. Now, whatever that means to you, maybe it's the quantum field, maybe it's God, maybe it's Allah, whatever you refer to as the unifying force throughout the universe. Well, we're all part of that. And part of the big illusion that we have is that we're separate. And so it's my mission to help as many people as possible not just believe that they're part of this, but actually be able to experience it, feel it, know it, and then be it. And this method does that very well. So a little bit about my history. Growing up from the age of 5 in Utah, very heavily, severely bullied every single day, physically and mentally and emotionally, and some abuse at home. I didn't feel safe anywhere. So my spiritual adventure, my spiritual life really started when I was about 12 years old. And so around the age of 11, I was having a very difficult time emotionally, and I was suicidal. I was thinking of killing myself every single day because I was getting beat up all the time at school. I was getting literally whipped with horse whips at home. I didn't feel safe anywhere. And so my soul, or my higher self, my subconscious, whatever you might refer to that as, it started to helping me have out of body experiences, astral projections at night. When I would go to sleep, my body would be paralyzed and I would feel myself lift out of my body, which a lot of people do. Millions of people worldwide report this. Well, I didn't know what was going on. I was a kid living in a small farm town with a couple thousand people, and our libraries didn't have anything on this, and there was no internet. Nobody had a computer. This is that long ago. And
Yeah.
so I just kept having these great experiences. And it was like my soul's way of saying, Nate, it's okay. There are better things coming. Don't take the early exit because it gets a lot better. You came here for a reason besides just what you think as a child. And so around the age of 16, I started martial arts training to be able to defend myself. But I also got deeply into the Monroe Institute out of body experience or remote viewing programs. And I started really trying to find out what else is there. Is it just, work until you're 90, have a bunch of kids, hopefully die happy? Is that all we're here for? Well, absolutely. We all have a purpose. We're all here for a reason and a season, but not many people know how to find what that is. And so I didn't either. And about the age of 23, well, actually, exactly the age of 23, I had a synchronous, something happened for me that changed the course of my life. I like to call it a synchrodestiny. So I was working as a credit card representative, fulfilling my dreams, right? Working for a Visa company. Not recommended unless you have to, but hey, it's what I was doing. And I'd always been interested in martial arts, but I always wanted to be a ninja and a Jedi. Like the ninja, I wanted to be both, the physical as well as the mystical, the superhuman. Well, training in martial arts and the little strip mall martial arts that I had done, or even in college, there's no internal part. So when I was 23, I ordered a course out of Black Belt magazine. They guaranteed me inner power in 2 weeks. And I'm like, yes, I don't have to go to China. I don't have to live as a monk for decades. And I don't have to give up girls and give up cars and fun things and TV. I don't have to do that. And I can have instant chi. Sign me up. So I ordered this course, which, as you can imagine, for $35 or $40, whatever it was, it was useless. But it did come with a very inspiring VHS tape. And on this tape, it was an Indonesian documentary. So everything was in Indonesian, but it showed martial artists from Indonesia doing the most amazing things I'd ever seen, including people who could see without their eyes. And they were driving cars through traffic. They were fighting full contact, bare knuckles with hoods on. And it had military people that could shoot targets and ride motorcycles in between people. And I thought it had to be fake, right? I mean, how could that really be real? But my other experiences leaving my body and knowing that consciousness is not local. It's not in our body. We know this for a fact. Neuroscience knows this. Well, maybe, just maybe, those people are really Jedis and it really does exist. I didn't know. But the next day is when the two worlds collided, the thing that I just saw and my future path. I watched a blind woman almost get killed in front of me trying to cross the street. And her dog let her face first into a pole. And it hit me right there. I wonder if those Indonesian people can help her. And I made it a mission right there, right on the spot at the crosswalk, that I had to find those Indonesian people and see if they could help her. Now, I didn't know why. I've never met a blind person up until this point. But it was like a spiritual calling. I had to do it right there. So it took me about 2 weeks and I found him. And this organization called Merpati Putih, which in English means white dove. So Merpati Putih sounds strange in English, but in Indonesia, this is a cultural heritage that at that time, they told me over 1 million people had been trained in, but never someone outside Indonesia. It was forbidden to train non-Indonesian people. And a lot of martial arts were that way, right? Bruce Lee helped usher in Kung Fu. Jun-Ri brought in Taekwondo. The GIs from World War II brought in karate from Okinawa. But up until that time, it was really forbidden for a lot of people to learn these things outside their country of origin. So with that in mind, I brought them over here and not thinking that I'd be able to train. And they showed me, literally, I got to see blind people who could do anything. They could drive my car. Their eyes were as white as a sheet. They could read printed material out of magazines or off of a screen. And I knew that was my path. That was my path right there. And I'm so blessed and fortunate that with so many people out there that have no idea what they want to be when they grow up, even if they're in their 70s and 80s, I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be a ninja and a Jedi, and I got to help some people do some amazing things. But when that team, after I set up all these different demonstrations around the United States, when they were leaving, the chairman of Merpati Putih looked at me and he said, Nate, we want you to be the very first person outside of Indonesia to learn this. And there just happened to be a trainer, a senior trainer, actually a former military trainer for this art, that lived an hour away, less than an hour away. And there were only 3 people in the whole country that could actually train me, and one just happened to be 40 miles away. So the universe, my soul, called in some amazing things for me to be able to follow this path. And so the next week, I started training, and then a few weeks later, one of my younger brothers joined me, and together we became the 2. I guess you'd call us kind of like the movie The Ghost in the Darkness with, it was, let's see, Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas, and it was about these 2 lions in Africa that killed a bunch of people, and this is a real story. Well, we were like the ghost in the lightness. So we were 2 like brother lions that would go out and spread this message of joy and light and love and peace and empowerment and martial arts and all these things that no one else in the world did. And then we would come back to our cave, our house that we lived in together for a long time. And so that's really how it got started. And after that, we were allowed to open the very first school of this art outside of Indonesia. And still to this day, we're the only 2 that are authorized trainers for this. So I hope that gives you kind of a background on me.
Yeah, it does. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so let us dive into the questions, Nate.
Yeah.
So the very first one, how can business leaders and team thrive with integrated ascension? You got that?
Yeah. Great question. So that is actually what I focus on now almost exclusively. So yes, I do have online programs, which everybody out there can go ahead and you can get a free class at the end of this webinar, and you can try it out and also learn from the comfort of your own home, this amazing breath work and energy work. But for the Integrated Ascension Method, it's not just the Merpati Putih martial arts. I don't teach the martial arts anymore, actually. I've moved onto the spiritual path of teaching just the breath work, the energy development, the chi building, the different meditations to develop different abilities, energy healing, and then seeing without your eyes. But I've also mixed it with biohacking, with vibroacoustic technology, things like brainwave entrainment, like actual brain training, like neuroscience brain training and biofeedback, pyramid and tachyon energy technologies. This pendant right here, which blocks EMF and actually roots you directly into the earth and increases your balance immediately, as well as nutrition. So I've incorporated all these different things that I couldn't just teach Merpati Putih anymore. Now it's the Integrated Ascension Method. So to your question, how this works for leaders, I really, for me, after 24 years of teaching this full time, speaking on stages around the world for tens of thousands of people, broadcast on stages, I work with top CEOs. I work with professional athletes. I work with leaders. I work with influencers. The reason why is because if I'm going to help 10 million people, I realize I can't just do that myself, teaching people in groups. That's too big of a mission. But if I can help leaders, people who command the attention of millions of people, help them improve what they're doing and who they're being, that will trickle down to the people who follow them. And I can have a much larger impact and reach for the reason why I came here. And I've actually literally had life or death challenges where I decided to come back to life after I died. I can tell that story in a moment if you'd like, but the thing is, this is such a powerful message for me to be able to share this with the leaders of this world, because we have a serious problem. We have poisonous water, air, food. Our minds are being poisoned all the time through our media, through social media, through our own thoughts, through EMF. We have so many stresses that we didn't have before. And Here in America, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, says on their website, over 90% of all disease is caused by stress. Now, since that's the case, if we can make ourselves sick, it also makes sense that we could make ourselves well again. And that's one reason why I am so blessed to be able to help not just leaders, but everyone, especially online, to be able to be the most healthy, powerful, vital, virile, that's a part of it too, people that we can be. Because so many people get to be 75 or 80 years old, and all they did is repeat the same day for 80 years. They didn't actually live. They were unconscious the whole time going through this routine. My goal, my mission, my passion is to break people out of that and realize that every single moment that you get on this planet is a miracle. Every breath that you take is a gift. And to be totally, truly present in this moment. Not worried about the past, not worried about the future, but right here, right now, that's the end is to be present. But most people don't know how to do that, or it takes so long that they give up. And so with the Integrated Ascension Method, it's literally the fastest way I've ever seen of helping people get into presence and stay in presence, maximize their energy, and maximize their abilities. Because honestly, why do you think the Avengers is so popular and the X-Men are so popular? Because everybody wishes they had a superpower. And the thing is that the ancient Egyptians said that we humans have 360 senses, not 5, 360. So what have we forgotten since those times, 5,000 years ago? They knew things that we didn't know about what we're capable of. And so my mission is to bring it back and let people experience what their higher abilities are through a tried and true method that we've proven in medicine and science that can unlock these things. And I don't know what they're going to be for an individual. Maybe they'll be able to remote view. Maybe they'll see without their eyes. Maybe they'll be an amazing energy chi healer because they have the energy inside them. Maybe they'll be able to hear from a distance. I don't know. It's always exciting, though, to see what unlocks in a person once they actually get a hold of this method and work it.
Beautiful. I truly love that. Okay, so let us talk about your spiritual life for a bit. How did you get interested in spirituality?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, the out-of-body experiences that started happening when I was about 12. They would allow me to travel. And if you've ever had that experience where you wake up in a dream and you're like, oh my God, I'm dreaming, and you can actually control the dream. If you haven't, that's okay. Everybody dreams, actually. Everybody dreams, really, I would imagine. But here's an interesting thing. If you can try this to remember this is a technique that I didn't pick up from Merpati much longer before that. But try to look at your hands and move them while you're in your dream. And notice when you practice this enough, eventually most people can start to see their hands, move their hands and go, wow, I'm dreaming, and become conscious while they're outside their body dreaming. It's pretty cool. It's amazing. It's not pretty cool. It's an incredible experience. And all you have to do is remember, once you go to bed, I will wake up in my dream and I will be able to control it. I'll see my hands in my dream. Something like that to help you be able to do this. But back to your question as far as what got me interested in spirituality. Well, the easy answer would be saying my spirit, because those out-of-body experiences, they really, that's like one of the highest spiritual things that you can have happen is a mystical experience where you realize and know that you're so much more than your physical body, that this is a vehicle to have experience, and we came here to have experience. That's all we came here to do, and it's ongoing. You can't shut it off, and it's going to happen. So then we get to ask the questions, what do I prefer to experience? What do I want to experience? And when things come and they're hard and they hurt and it's pain or it's grief, it's sadness, it's terror, fear, these negative emotions, as long as we take a moment to pause and ask the question, how is this for me? How is this for me? And let our consciousness answer. Then it gives us the opportunity to create a better future that we want, because now we have clarity on why our higher being has chosen these experiences, and we get to choose differently. So I started when I was about 12, and it's just continued on a daily basis up until now, where I'm still 12 at heart, but my body's 48, and my soul is eternal. So I don't know. I just keeps it's an ongoing continuum as far as discovering new things. I am by no means at the end of this road. There is no such thing as an end, and I just enjoy the exploration and expansion on a daily basis.
Beautiful, beautiful, Nate. You know, our conversation is so educative because your words are so filled with insight. I love that. Okay, so the last question. Okay, where do you see yourself and your mission in 5 years' time?
That's a great question. So, in 5 years' time, because I've recently rebranded, I'm starting again. Okay, so my other companies that I built for 24 years, my former business partner and I, we decided to separate last year. And so I've been building things all again, but adding things I was never able to add before. So I'm very excited about that. And so now that's a great question about 5 years. In 5 years, I will have trained at least 100 high level CEOs or athletes or influencers, people in that level of influence throughout their communities. And I definitely, just on a personal level, I really want to take a trip around the world. I want to go to at least 80 countries. I have a list. And I want to go to as many holy sites and mystical sites in the world as possible and train with as many energy masters as possible. Not because I want to share their wisdom, I want to help them share their wisdom, but I want to help myself grow as a spirit, as a soul, which is all we came here to do. And so, business wise, working with the CEOs, I'm looking forward to influencing in 5 years at least 500,000 people to be able to have this method, to work on it, to improve themselves, and to enjoy that. And honestly, I'm just here to have more experience. And so, if that equates to helping millions of people, great. That's my mission. If it comes down to me understanding greater my own mission and my own self for being here on the planet, well, that's going to happen because that's what I'm most focused on.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so you know, it's so beautiful to have you on the show, Nate. All right, so in conclusion, let's say there is a particular advice you would like to give to the audience. What would that be? And let's say there are some people, oh God, I feel like Nate is talking to me and I would like to reach out to him. How can that be possible?
The most important advice that I could ever give anyone is to remember your breath and become present and still. Now, it's very simple. You breathe slowly in through your nose, let your entire lungs fill up from the bottom up, and exhale from the top down until you're all the way empty. Squeeze all the air out, and then breathe in again and slowly breathe in. Try to make them the same duration in and out. This is not a Merpati Putih technique. This is just a quick presence technique. So when we do that and we become totally present, it's very difficult to judge because we're in the present moment. We're not thinking about the past and what our previous experiences are. We're not thinking about the future and what we want to have happen. Therefore, it's no judgment. It's simply awareness. And like the adage says, you're not able to speak and listen at the same time. Presence is listening. Judging is speaking. And so if we can transition in our day 1,000 times, remember, breathe slowly and relax and ask the question, where am I? The answer is always here. No matter where you are, you're here. What time is it? It's not about looking at your watch. It's about now. The time is always right now. So if we say, what time is it now? Where am I? Here. It gives us a totally different reflection on our world. So for people who are interested in that, guess what? You're going to be breathing anyway, right? If you're not, you're probably not watching this podcast. So you're going to be breathing. Use it to your advantage. Everybody comes in with an inhale, and everybody leaves this existence with an exhale. In between, we have 20,000 times or more every day to work on it. So yes, that's my advice. The second thing, as far as reaching out to me, the Integrated Ascension Method is unique in the world. There is no other company that offers these things in conjunction. And like I said, I'm only one of 2 Americans allowed to teach this. So as far as the Merpati Putih itself. But when people want to reach out, they can go to my website, which is a very easy one to remember. Just think, I am pure energy. And that's my website, is I am pure .energy. So not .com, I am pure .energy. And there, you'll be able to get a free book, my free ebook. You'll also be able to get a free class. So you get to try something out that will actually benefit you every day of your life. And then you can jump on and try and get involved in my digital classes, my master class and my leap class. Those things, they will revolutionize whatever other practice you have going on, your athletic performance, your stress levels, you name it. It is a very comprehensive system that benefits every part of your life on every single level. And for those people who are in the high-level CEO or influencer category who would like to work with me personally, that requires a clarity call, a breakthrough session with me personally, which could also be done on my website. You can just reach out through the contact me page, and we can set up a time. It's a high-ticket, high-touch program where we are completely immersed for anywhere from 3 to 5 days, depending on the person, what they want. And I bring in so much 21st century tech, as well as the most advanced Merpati Putih techniques that I've ever taught anyone in 24 years. So that's an exclusive program, but people who are interested can reach out about that as well.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the show. Thank you for your time, Nate. That means a whole lot. Thank you for honoring the invite. Thank you so very much.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And I hope everyone out there creates a great day. And I used to say have a great day. And now I just say have a great now. Have a great now.
That's deep. That's deep. Have a great now. All right. Beautiful. Ain't it? Have a great now. All
You
right.
too.
Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this incredible episode. Your support means the world to us, and we truly value you. We look forward to having you join us for the next episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback is greatly appreciated.